Hey guys, I'm Eric and this is Music Theory Breakdown. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find all the notes on your guitar. I had played guitar for several years before I had any idea about the musical alphabet, much less how to find any of the notes on a guitar. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to show you how to find each note. I'm going to show you how the musical alphabet lays across the fretboard in the simplest way that I can. What this is going to do for you is going to give you a foundation so you can understand the rest of music theory on your guitar. You'll finally be able to play scales and chords and use a capo without having to Google it or ask the guy next to you. Like always, I'm going to teach you guys with the guitar in hand so that you can take the concepts that you're seeing on the screen and start making actual music. So with all of that said, let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back. So today we're talking about the different notes on the guitar. If you're anything like me, you may even play some cool stuff on guitar, make some cool sounds, but you don't necessarily know what the notes are. Now is as good a time as any to learn how this works. So this is essentially just the musical alphabet round 2. Speaking of, go check out my video on the musical alphabet if you haven't watched that already, and then maybe watch the one on the major scale as well. Those will help you understand what's going on in this video. Okay, so this is the graph from that first video, from the musical alphabet. This is how it's laid out on a piano. And on a piano, it's very straightforward. And like I said before, this is why we teach theory from a piano. But on a guitar, it's not as obvious where each of the notes are, so it takes a little more explanation. Another kind of difference between the two is on a piano, one note only ever occurs in one place, and on a guitar, that same note can occur in several places. Okay, so our guitar here, when you play the open strings, they're laid out like so. You've got an E, A, D, G, B, and another E, just a higher one. And this graph you're looking at, this is a very common way to illustrate a guitar on paper, is laid out like it is, the low E at the bottom, in order to sort of simulate like you're looking down at the fretboard. Okay, so if I'm looking down at this, that low E is on the bottom. These black bars you see here, those are the actual frets. Those are the wire pieces on the neck of the guitar. As a sort of a side note, remember that when you're playing each of those notes, you're not putting your finger on that wire, you're putting your finger somewhere slightly behind it. That big black bar at the end represents the nut. That's where the strings actually terminate. Sometimes it's also called the 0 fret. And these dots that you see here, these are very common on guitars. These are called inlays. They're just there to help sort of visually separate the neck of the guitar for you. Every guitar will have an inlay on the 5th and the 12th fret, and most of them will have inlays somewhere in between. And they're not all dots. Sometimes they're blocks like they are on this guitar. Okay, so this string down here, this low E string, okay, that is string 6. And the high E string up there, that is string 1, okay? And so you can fill in the rest, strings 2, 3, 4, and 5. The reason we give the strings numbers is it's just to make things a little bit clearer when we're talking about how to play which note. So what I mean is if I were to ask you, play me an A note on the E string, first of all, there's 2 E strings, okay? And then secondly, it's a little less confusing. I'm not talking about so many notes when I just say, play me on string 6, play me an A note, okay? It's just more specific. Okay, so quick reminder on the musical alphabet. We're going to take this, we're going to lay this out across the guitar, but you want to keep in mind the B, C, E, F rule. There is no note, there's no accidental between B and C or E and F, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so on our fretboard here, if we were to play any of the strings open, okay, and we're going to move up 1 fret, okay, we moved up a distance of a half step, okay, and that's true across the entire neck. So each fret represents 1 half step, okay, so you're just moving up 1 note. So it stands to reason then, if you were to move up 2 frets, you've moved up a whole step. So if you play, again, an open string, move up 2 frets, okay, that's a whole step. Again, this is true across the neck of the guitar, so anywhere where you start, if you move up 1, so in this case from fret 1 to fret 2, that's a half step. If you move up 2 frets, so from fret 1 to fret 3, that is a whole step, okay? So you get the idea. Okay, so specifically on our E string, if we play an open E, and then we move up to fret 1, okay, we moved up a half step. And so in terms of the musical alphabet, the distance from E, if you move up a half step, is just from E to F. Okay, so that's where your F note is. So if we were to do a similar thing, if we start on the E note there and move up to fret 2, we move up a whole step, we've moved up to F sharp, okay? So I could lay it out like this. The musical alphabet occurs on the guitar the same way it does in the piano. It's just based on whatever your open string was, okay? So if my open string in this case is an E, and I move up a half step to F, then F sharp, then G, G sharp, A sharp, and so on down the line, okay? And this is true for all the strings. So on the B string, if I start out playing a B, I'm just gonna move up the musical alphabet, B to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, and then I'm actually gonna keep going all the way until I get to the 12th fret, because the 12th fret is where the octave occurs, okay? And I've said this before as well, is that every note, if you move up from that note 12 half steps, you're gonna hit that same note again, just at a higher pitch. So if this is a B, this is also a B, but 1 octave higher. And you can kind of see there on the graph, the fret with 2 dots, that's your 12th fret. That's how you know where that one is. Okay, another thing that I mentioned in the musical alphabet is that when you're practicing the alphabet, you want to go up in sharps, because sharps, raising notes, and you want to go down in flats, because flats are lowering notes. So in this case, on our G string here, if we were to move from G, we're going to go to G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp. But on the way back down, those are going to change. Okay, this is C sharp, but this is also D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, and so on. So you kind of get the idea with that. Okay, so with all that in mind, if you've already seen the videos on the major scale and stuff, you should now be able to take what you know from this video and apply it on your guitar and be able to actually play a major scale. We're going to do a whole video on this later. I just want to kind of challenge you to, go find a C note and then move up, whole, half, whole, half. And see if you can kind of construct the major scale on your own. The best way to learn, I think, is to get down there and learn it, teach yourself essentially. So with that in mind, go ahead and check out this link I've got below to the National Numbers cheat sheet. It's got some charts and graphs so you see my different videos. That's just a free resource to you. And with that, guys, I just want to say thanks again for watching. If you like this video, thumbs up. If you feel like something was helpful or could have been better, make sure you leave me a comment. And if you want to see more stuff like this, I'm going to expand a lot more on guitar specifically. Go ahead and subscribe. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this. And I also hope to see you in the next video.